Welcome back everybody once again to today's video of DIY investing. I'm sorry for the lack of quality in this upload. Obviously you guys noticed that I don't have my normal intro. I also don't have my face cam up, and it's just because I've had a very busy weekend trying to get a bunch of stuff done, trying to recover a little bit. And so I promised you guys I'd have a video up tonight talking about my top 10 coins heading into alt season. And so I'm finally getting around to making that video. Even though it's not technically up to par with my other videos, it's still going to provide a ton of value just because of the simple fact these are 3 coins that I know are going to perform exceptionally well in this next coming alt season. And not only that, but they're going to perform well on the short term as well as the long-term future. So we're going to dive right into it today by taking a look at number 1 on the list, which is Altcoin. Now keep in mind, guys, these aren't ordered from my top favorite to my least favorites. These are just ordered 1 through 10 based off of my top 10 coins that I like. I like these all about the same. I think they all have good profit potential. I'm not somebody that likes to just choose one coin and say this is my favorite one for alt season. I like them all equally the same because at the end of the day, I don't know which ones are going to perform the best. Some are going to surprise, some are going to underperform, and so the best thing you can do is just have your list of top alts and then look to see what's going to happen with them. So today on the list, we're going to talk about Altcoin. Now, obviously, guys, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you're going to have noticed that I've talked about these coins before. I just wanted to make a big list of all of my favorite ones moving into alt season so that you guys can kind of understand my thoughts moving forward with things. Now, the reason why I chose Altcoin is for the simple reason this is a one wave as far as Elliott wave theory goes, with the 1, 3, and 5 up. And so with this cycle that we're currently sitting in, we've basically bounced off my trend line perfectly. I called this coin way back here. I had some of my close friends buy this coin back at the bottom. I accumulated a little bit at the same time, and now I've just watched it basically maintain support of this trend line that I've drawn. Now keep in mind, trend lines aren't the smartest things. They aren't the most useful tools in the world. Trend lines will fail. I've seen it happen a lot, but the thing is, we're coming at the major end of an ABC correction, which is always the most profitable time to buy. Anytime you can buy at the end of a major correction, that's going to basically create the biggest profit potential for yourself when coins go back up into their next cycles. And so with us finishing out our ABC correction, we're retracing and found support basically back at this 4, which is where you roughly want to see the end of corrections as far as an Elliott wave perspective goes. Usually they come back down, retest this 4 wave support. This one broke a little bit below, but that's also something that you want to see just somewhere close in that vicinity. And that's what we're seeing right here. And so Altcoin's been one on my list. I've been watching this for a while because of the insane profit potential that this coin actually has. I mean, if you bought from right here today and held to all-time high, saying we even get to all-time high, that's just under a 32x return. And so this is one where we could easily drop lower. Keep in mind, guys, this is all just a risk. This is all my own speculation. I've been buying in this time. I've actually been buying lower than where we're at now, but I expect this to be a very good performing altcoin with this next season. So I'm going to be watching to see how we kind of progress based off of Elliott wave analysis. If you guys haven't watched this video, because I've talked about Altcoin before, we're heading up for our 3 wave. Now the 3 wave is the most impulsive cycle that we're going to have with Elliott wave theory. Let's take off this waves. Is the most impulsive cycle based off Elliott wave theory, and then this will send us into the 3 wave. Now I've talked about this before. It's impossible for me to understand exactly how high this coin is actually going to go, just because of the fact when coins break out of all-time high and go into price discovery, it's really impossible to know how much money is going to be flooding into it because there's so many factors that go into the play of moving that coin. And so this is just what I'm watching out for. Based off of a regular analysis from current prices all-time high, we're still sitting at a significant return on investment, and so I'm willing to risk a little bit by putting some into this coin and holding it for the longer term future. This coin is a much longer term hold for me because of the fact based off of from the time of about 2015 until the start of 2018, so about 3 years we've been doing this cycle, and now we're entering close into, well, we've actually entered year 4. So 4 years this thing has been accumulating, and so there's really no reason to expect that it's going to go crazy within the next 6 months to a year. I would think that I can get a much bigger return on investment just by long holding this for maybe 2, 3, even up to 4 years in the next cycle, probably closer to 2 or 3. So this is the first one on the list. This is Altcoin. Next up on the list is really one of my favorite alts. If I could choose one of my top favorites out of this top list, this one's probably going to be really high up there. And it's just for the simple reason, this coin is called Darrow. Now, Darrow is a privacy token that you can also issue smart contracts with. They have a very fast blockchain, according to their website. They're very undervalued. They have about 6 million in market cap, with a circulating supply of, I think, let's go check this out real quick, because this is one of the big reasons why I have a lot of these altcoins on this list. Yeah, 7.3 million in circulating supply, with a total supply of 18.4 million. So as of right now, there's only 7 million tokens, and it's currently worth under $1, right? With a market cap of just under $7 billion. Now, that's really insane to me, just because of the fact, anytime you find a coin that's valued so cheaply, on top of that have a very significantly numbered circulating supply, these are all very good signs that you could see a very massive profit explosion when this coin breaks all-time highs and goes into price discovery. And so this is why I have this coin on my list. It's basically XMR 2.0. It's just got a little bit more, I guess you could say, better fundamentals in a way. I also don't understand fundamental analysis a whole lot. I just understand what this coin does. The big reason I bought it is because it's following XMR's accumulation cycle near perfectly. If you ever take a look back at XMR from when it was first added to an exchange, and it looks just exactly the same as this. Really no difference at all. And so for me, I'm willing to put some money into this and hold it. This is going to be another one of those long holds that I'm holding for probably the majority of Bitcoin cycle. We're going to see what happens to it, but I'm very excited with this coin. Now, this is on a logarithmic chart. If I pull this up, you're going to see that currently we're reacting to this descending resistance. Now, right here where we're at, we're getting our third confirmational touch on this trend line, which signals this is a strong trend. So we could see further downside to come. I wouldn't expect a whole lot, mainly because of the fact we're seeing this nice inverse head and shoulder pattern that seems to be playing out with a lot of inclining volume in this right shoulder, which is what you want to see with an inverse head and shoulder. Inclining volume in the right shoulder shows that there's strong enough momentum that we can break out of this right shoulder and this major descending resistance. So this is what I'm watching out for. I've been accumulating in this time. When I first saw this coin, it was valued at $1.11. And I don't know about you guys, but I follow repeating numbers. I've always had very good, I don't know if you call it luck. I don't believe in luck. I've always had very good experiences with following these repeating numbers. They often lead me to good places to buy and just good places in general, even just within my life. And so I found this coin on an exchange. I saw some people talking about it on Twitter. I went and checked it out and noticed that this looks exactly like XMR back when it was worth about $1. And so then I thought about it and I'm like, dang, this looks like a pretty good buy. I went to an exchange, found its price, and it was valued at $1.11. So went ahead and waited for this thing to drop a little bit, and then I've just been accumulating it ever since. So this is one that I'm watching out for. This is called Darrow. This is one that I'm very, very excited about out of every one of these on the top 10 list. So go check this out. Do yourself a favor. Keep in mind, guys, this is just my own analysis. This is what I'm doing personally. This is not financial advice by any means. I'm not telling you to go out and buy any of these. Use this advice use this analysis to your own risk, and understand that this is only what I'm doing in my trading plan. Next up is another one of my favorite alts, and this is the great MadeSafe coin. Now, MadeSafe, I've been following this thing for over a year. Been accumulating since back in here. Bought capitulation, bought some of these lows that we had in here, and we keep going lower, and so I'm just openly accumulating and looking to find that floor. For me personally, I'm not necessarily worried about this coin continuously going down, for the simple fact Doesn't really matter because I know what's about to happen with this fractal. I've seen it happen once before, and it's just doing the same exact setup. So for me, I'm willing to put a little bit more risk on the table by actively just laddering in the lower that we go, because I know it's going to pay off for me when this thing actually takes off again. Now, if you guys have watched my videos, you've seen me talk about this coin. If you follow me in Discord, I've been very hyped about this project for a while. Now, not just the project, specifically just the setup that we're following. I don't know anything about MadeSafe, to be completely honest. I really don't even care to. I just know that this thing is going to take off for the simple fact it's just following a basic market cycle. Now, I love market cycles. They've been some of my most profitable setups ever since I've been trading Altseason. And it's just easy setups that you can follow, and they usually stay true every single time, especially on a Bitcoin chart. Because keep in mind, guys, this is a Bitcoin pair. Now, many of you guys that watch my videos, you'll understand that I'm usually trading on the dollar pairs. And that's just for the simple fact that I like how dollar pairs look over Bitcoin. I still like to look at some of these pairs for Bitcoin as well, because at the end of the day, guys, we're just looking to find profitable setups. It doesn't matter whether we're trading against Ethereum, whether we're trading against Bitcoin, whether we're trading against the dollar. You can find profitable setups in all of these, and so that's really what I look to do. Now, this is one that sets up where you can basically get a 10x of whatever you invest in your Bitcoin. So you want to grow your Bitcoin by 10x, find some of these Bitcoin pairs that are setting up, and so that's what I'm doing with this. Just overall, we have a very simple setup. It's just your average market cycle. We have the initial rally up. We have the initial rally up, followed by the ABC retrace. Now, technically, this is a big ABC retrace, A, B, C. But there's also this little pattern in here that I mainly wanted to point out. You got this little sell-off, the first sell-off. It makes this little fish hook looking thing before we have full-on capitulation. We have this little rounded bottom, and then we start the next cycle. And so this cycle right here follows this next cycle that we're in currently to the T. Really no difference at all. And so this is why I've been watching this coin, super excited for it, just for the simple reason it's going to follow the same pattern, and I'm very confident in saying that. I could get wrecked on this very hard, and I would if it didn't go off, but assuming that things stay true with how the cycles have played out in the past, I'm just going to go with it. So once again, after the rounded bottom, we have the new cycle. Prices go parabolic. We chop around here. We make a big ABC retrace back down, but we make these two little highs, these two little peaks after we have our initial sell-off. We have peak 1 here, peak 2 here. Same thing, sell-off, peak 1 here, peak 2 here. And then we start the cycle back down to capitulation. We have this first sell-off, which is like our fish hook. First sell-off, the fish hook. And then we have our ABC retrace all the way to the floor, all the way to the floor. Now, if you go back and even analyze down in here, this throws up this weird little descending triangle type thing. And so it's basically just doing the exact same setup, just repeating that same little fractal all the way through. And so I've been actively accumulating, like I said, since back in here. Every time we go lower, I just buy more. And so I've talked about this inside of my Discord because I'm very excited about this coin. Currently what we're seeing is some nice, I'll throw it even to the daily. Currently what we're seeing is, let's see here. Let's go to the weekly time frame actually. Nah, I don't know what I'm doing. Currently what we're seeing here is a little bit of bullish divergence. We had a lower low here, and we're making a significantly higher high on the RSI. Prices look pretty good right here. They look like they could come back up and test this trend line, but we're going to have to really just watch and see if that's actually going to be the case. So this is MadeSafe. This is one that I have been watching for a while because of the simple fact when this thing does break this descending resistance that we have here, it's going to set up for a very profitable turn. I mean, if you bought right here today, I'm not saying to do this, use this video as just a guide. This is not financial advice. Just to all-time high, you're looking for about a 12x return on investment. So that's just to all-time high. Now, assuming that this cycle repeats, we're going to break all-time high. My guess is you could see something about maybe even closer to a 15x return, which would put us at about here. And so I'm going to be watching this one pretty heavily over this next alt season because of the simple fact, same setup I've traded in the past. Same setup is going to just, not only that, but it's just the same setup I've traded in the past. And on top of that, it's coming at the terminal end of this correction. You can't really mess up by buying this at this time, in my opinion. It could fall off the face of the earth and you lose your investment. For the most part, this one seems like a very low risk, high reward setup for me personally. And so I'm going to be following this one closely. Alright guys, next up on the list is going to be XRP. Now I'm going to start getting into some higher market cap coins for this one because of the fact these are coins that continuously perform and outperform the rest of the market each cycle. And so for me personally, I'd be willing to put some money into these and just kind of hold on to them through that alt season. These ones are going to be a little bit more shorter term trades. For the most part, I always keep a little bit on deck for the long haul, but these ones are looking to be more shorter term. But the big reason why I chose Ripple today is because of the simple fact, let me change my Elliott waves for you guys, is because of the simple fact it looks to be just finishing its one wave on the big picture. Now, if you guys don't understand Elliott waves, the one wave is the best time that you could ever buy a cryptocurrency, because this is the wave that really starts the hype. And if Ripple is really going to take off as a big institutional form to send and receive value, then it would make sense that this thing is going to be widely adopted, especially in the time where Bitcoin is going to be taking off in the next cycle. Now, we had our first, this is the 1 of the 1, and then we had the 1 of the 3, 3 of the 3, and then 5 of the 3. And then for the final 5 wave, we have the 1, the 3, and then the 5. And you guys can even dive in here and check these on a shorter time frame. I haven't, so I don't really have any reason to. But this finished our 1, this finished our 3, and then this finished our 5. And as far as ABC corrections, one thing this is cool with Ripple, for whatever reason, the A leg overextends the C leg in its retraces, oftentimes. Not always, but for the most part it happens. ABC, ABC, and then in this last cycle we saw the same thing, A, B, C. And so this brings us to current day values. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit bigger primary, minor. Now I'm going to give you guys a little bit better of an understanding with where we're at here. This was our 1 wave, this was our 3 wave, and then this was our 5 wave, right? Clean it up a little bit. So this was our 1, this was our 3, and this was our 5. And now this sets the stage for our big cycle. 1, and now we're getting ready for the 3. And I'm actually going to hide this wave because it's not important. So we had the 1, the 2 wave retrace, and now we're getting ready for that 3 wave impulse. And so, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and draw targets for you guys because I don't know how much money is going to be flooding into this market. I'm just merely showing you guys where we're at as far as an Elliott wave perspective and the wave count that I have here. We finished the 1, this was the 1 of the 3, 3 of the 3, 5 of the 3. We finished the 1, 3, 5 of the 5. And so this completed our 1 wave, 1, 3, 5 up. And so this, with this retrace that we just saw here, this was the end of our 1 wave. And now what comes next is the most impulsive wave, which is the 3 wave. Keep in mind, guys, if we compare previous 3 waves, this was the 3 wave in Ripple. This was the 1 of the 3, this was the 3 of the 3, and this was the 5 of the 3. As you can see, really no room for retraces into some of these more impulsive 3 waves. And that's kind of the way Ripple behaves, just kind of pumps really hard. And so this is why I'd like to hold this coin. It's why I've been accumulating since these lows that we saw down in here at about 30 cents. Just because the main factor, this looks to be a 1 wave setup ready for the most profitable wave, which is the 3 wave. And on top of that, you really can't go wrong betting on a number 3 market cap coin, especially one that's continuously leading the alt pack. And so this is what I have on Ripple. This is one that I'm super excited about moving forward, just for the simple fact it sets up, makes very profitable hype cycles, and you can trade those hype cycles for a very profitable gain. I mean, if you buy today, it's all-time highs. you're looking at about 800%, so about an 8.5x return. There's really no reason why you couldn't make about a 10x on this, but like I said, I'm not posting targets for you guys. I'm just kind of showing you guys some analysis and my top 10 altcoins moving into this next cycle. All right, guys, next up is the great Zcash, or everybody's most talked on shitcoin. For whatever reason, people hate this coin. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything good about Zcash, especially if you look at the Bitcoin pair, which is the main reason why everybody hates Zcash. As you can see, we just make lower lows. Even with the significant inclining volume that we've had since clear back here in May of last year, we're still just going lower. And so a lot of people talk mad shit on this coin, and that's the exact reason why I'm buying it. Anytime you hear about people just talking super down on a coin, saying it's a scam, saying this and that, it's going to fail, those coins pump the hardest. So I'm looking to accumulate the most fear, and all I see is fear and hate and anger towards this project. So might as well be accumulating some. Big reason for accumulating this guy is because, simple fact, if you look at Zcash, currently there's only a circulating supply of 6.5 million. So you really can't go wrong accumulating this. I mean, it's top 25 in market cap, so it's got solid backing as far as people are buying this and accumulating it. But the big reason for me is the fact that this coin is very talked about. It's negatively talked about, okay? Rule number one. Reason number two is the fact that the circulating supply is so low. I like to buy coins that have a low circulating supply, but especially because of the fact it's only worth $75 right now. And at peak values, it was valued at just under 1,000. So there's an 11x return just to all-time highs. Now, look at the volume coming in here. There's so much volume flooding into this market, way, way, way bigger than any of the cycle that we saw before. And so for me, that's a definitive buy in my opinion. Anytime you can see coins going to very low significance inside of their market cycle, this one basically fully retraced, and you're starting to see such a massive incline in volume, people are obviously accumulating this coin because they know what's going to happen. So I'm buying this. I'm holding this for the long haul. It's going to be another one of my long-term holds for the next cycles to come. Kind of what I'm seeing as far as L8 wave perspective goes is from the initial sell-off. Keep in mind, guys, this is going to look funky to you guys for some people that follow me. This was an ABC retrace. Now, I know that this A leg is significantly larger than the C, but you got to keep in mind that is also something that happens. It's just a complicated ABC correction where we got added to an exchange and we just dropped significantly. And so that can happen. This is one of those reasons that where you can kind of get a funky looking ABC correction is just for the simple fact we got added to an exchange and it sold off so significantly. And so the market structure is going to behave a little bit differently than conventional, but this is still a correct ABC retrace. But this is a complicated correction at the same time. ABC, W, X, Y, which I expect it to take it back up to the top where we sold off initially at about $5,000 per Zcash. We could very easily overextend that, but for the most part, that's going to be my target moving forward. So if you buy today and hold to that target, you're looking at about 68x return. So very good profit potential with this one. This is why I'm just long holding it. It looks to be finishing out its complicated correction from our initial sell-off from getting added to an exchange. Will one Zcash equal 7 BTC? Because this is something that I'm going to be watching out for as well. If you guys do not understand what the hell I'm even talking about, when Zcash was added to the exchange and we had this massive sell-off, I think it happened on Poloniex, it might have happened on a couple other exchanges, but it was worth 7 Bitcoin at its peak. And so will we ever see the Zcash parity where 1 Zcash equals 7 BTC? I have no idea. But I tell you what, it's a good thing to watch out for, especially if you're accumulating in some of these lows. Not financial advice by any means. All right, fellers, next up on the list is the great Monero. I just talked about this in one of my last videos because of the fact it's setting up with basically the same correction that we saw back in the day. If you take a look here, we had these two little lows. And then we had our sell-off, which took us to new lows. Change that to red. And then we made our 1, 3, and 5 waves up, which were very, very impulsive. 1, 3, and 5. And then we got our ABC retrace, A, B, C back down. And now that takes us to current values, new inclining volume, always a very positive sign. On top of that, we're only worth about $87. So from peaks, we were worth about, let's see here, about just under $500. So you can't really go wrong accumulating some of these. On top of that, this is another prime example of a coin with a very limited circulating supply at just under 17 million. So you can't go wrong accumulating these, especially if they have such an insignificant amount in circulating supply. Anytime they're close to Bitcoin, or at least somewhat similar to Bitcoin circulating supply, you can basically guarantee or count on it to have a very strong price swing. That is, if you're accumulating, this one's obviously one of the better performing alts over the span of the last 4 years. So you can't really go wrong, in my opinion, trading this. This is XMR. This is one that I expect to perform very well. And if you guys wanted to understand kind of my analysis with Darrow and why I compared it to XMR, it's because of this simple fact. They look exactly the same, right? And I'll go through and here analyze it a little bit. You had this low. You had this low here. And then you had the sell-off. Goodness sakes. Sell-off to new lows. And then you start the 1, 3, and 5 out. If you've been following my videos, you've already seen this comparison. I'm not going to sit here and make targets. I'm just showing you the setup between the two. So this is the great Monero and the great Darrow, watching both of these two very strongly because I expect them to perform well. This is just one of those long-term holds. You're picking it up at less than $100 when you could see it worth thousands in the next cycle, and most likely will see it worth thousands in the next cycle. So just do yourself a favor. Throw a little bit of money this way. Throw it into some of these top-performing alts that have been around for a while, and just do your thing. It doesn't take a ton of technical analysis to understand what's happening with these alts. I'm not a professional technical analyst, but I'll tell you what, guys, I do know how to profit in these cycles, and I've been doing it for a few years now. So I don't overcomplicate things. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I'm some sort of Elliottician. I understand some basic principles and rules to technical analysis, but I know enough that I can profit. And I'm looking at these long-term cycles much more frequently than I am day trading, because I know that these long-term cycles are going to play out far greater than me trying to day trade and swing trade in between. I'll still day trade and swing trade, but for the most part, these are my pride and joys going forward in this next cycle, because I know that the long term holds much greater profit potential if you just hold on to stuff. Alright guys, once again we've got Ethereum. These are all coins that I've recently talked about. I had to put them on the list because these are just obviously my top altcoins heading into this next cycle. For the similar reasons of XMR and some of these older ones like Zcash, this one has a little bit different of a reason for me accumulating it. Now, obviously, it's the number 2 alt, so that's going to give you a reason to. It's one that's been around for a while. It's proven itself in these cycles. And so for me personally, I'm looking to accumulate any of these top coins that are very undervalued in this time. Ethereum went from $14.50 all the way down to $80. So it had a massive sell-off, especially with this ICO craze. That's very undervalued for this asset. I believe it's going to be worth significantly more. And I'm actually going to pull up I'm actually going to pull up what the hell I'm talking about. Now, I posted this comparison in my Discord the other day. I want you guys to see what I'm comparing it to. So this was Ethereum, right? This is Ethereum. We had our massive parabolic rise into the 3-4 wave retrace before we went super parabolic into the 5 wave, which took us all the way up to $1,430. This number might be off a little bit. It's not meant to be exact. But then we had our sell-off out of the tops of these highs. And this cycle looks exactly the same as Bitcoin's back in the day. And I'm going to show you. Bitcoin had its massive 3-wave, 4-wave retrace before we went super parabolic into the 5, which took us relatively close to the same value as Ethereum, which BTC topped out at $11.50. $1,150, whereas Ethereum topped out at about $300 more than this. But then we got the similar cycle. We sold off, and then we went into this capitulation event, which took us down to $155. So BTC wasn't as volatile as Ethereum was, but it's still following that cycle almost identically. So for this next cycle coming up, I do have a very strong belief that we're going to see something similar to what happened here in Bitcoin, where we consolidated sideways for a while and then we went up and tested about 20,000. And so for me personally, guys, I would not be the least bit surprised to find Ethereum valued at 20,000 at the peak of the next cycle, or at least close to that. Now, I know that Ethereum has a significantly higher circulating supply, and there are other factors that are going towards that becoming false, but the price discovery and the comparison between the two has shown some striking correlations throughout the last cycle and this current cycle that we're seeing even now. And so I'm willing to kind of just long hold this one for the simple fact it's Ethereum. You really can't go wrong. It has a ton of decentralized applications built on it, and I'm expecting more to come. We're getting ready for the institutional cycle. Now, I'm assuming that Bitcoin's not going to be the only cryptocurrency that gets institutional money flooding into it. I do strongly believe that Ethereum will see the same. And if you can pick up Ethereum, you're basically picking up Bitcoins back here at this early bottom that we saw before Bitcoin went to 20K. Now, I have a strong feeling that this thing is really going to melt faces in this next cycle and surprise a lot of people. And so for me personally, I'm willing to kind of start accumulating now and just hold throughout this entire cycle. Because with this next cycle coming up, remember, only the strong hands survive. I think about how many people pissed away their Bitcoin by just not holding it throughout the entire cycle. I know that I did that, and I wish that I could have been able to accumulate more Bitcoin, but I just didn't know enough about what I was doing. And so for this next cycle, I'm not making the same mistakes twice, and I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes twice. So pick up some of these cheap altcoins, because they're going to melt faces in this next cycle, and they will surprise you. So the best thing that you can do is just set yourself up for that surprise. Put some away, long-term hold that stuff, and just kind of forget about it for the next couple years. But this is what I wanted to talk about Ethereum, just basically the same exact price discovery that we're seeing with Bitcoin from back in its early cycle in 2015. All right, next up on the list is going to be Litecoin. Now, once again, I just talked about this coin. I'm excited about this for the simple fact it's finishing its one wave, or finished its one wave, 1, 3, 5 up, right? And so this is just a bigger 1, 2, 3. Now, I don't know, I'm not going to draw targets. Once again, I'm just showing you guys kind of what's happening. One of the bigger reasons why I'm actively accumulating this coin is for the simple fact in August we have the halving, which happens inside of this coin. Now, the halving is when the mining rewards get cut in half, and so that always sends prices super parabolic for the next cycle. And we've seen it with Bitcoin 2 different times, coming up on the 3rd time. And so I'm going to be doing myself a favor by investing in this time, because right now it's worth under $100. You can't really go wrong buying some of these coins that are so insignificant compared to all-time highs, closer to about 400. Stupid amounts of volume coming in here with this little move in between. You really cannot go wrong, in my opinion. These are coins that have proven themselves for the length of Bitcoin's bear markets. They're coins that have been accumulated for a long period of time, and now with all of this new institutional money getting ready to flood into crypto, it's only a matter of time before it finds some of these other altcoins, specifically Litecoin, specifically Ethereum, specifically Monero, and some of these older ones that have proven themselves, have a significant use case. And so that's what I'm going to be doing with these ones. I don't need to go into a ton of analysis with these because of the simple fact I've made videos of them in the past. I just wanted to give you guys a brief analysis with why I'm actively accumulating them. All right, guys, next up on the list is going to be Digibyte. I'm going to drop it down to a shorter time frame. Digibyte's one that I've been super excited about for quite some time. I made a video down here at this bottom telling you guys that I was going to be starting to accumulate. I was expecting one more lower low. We didn't get that. It doesn't matter because I'm still accumulating, so you live and learn. I'm buying this one for the simple fact it's following the exact same market cycle that we have in years prior. I had the opportunity to make quite a bit of money back here from buying the bottom in Digibyte before the final 5 wave, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing in this next cycle here. It's following basically the exact same pattern. I mean, it's really no different. And so for me personally, I have no problem actively accumulating this. If it follows the same market cycle as the years prior, that shows that there's money being put into this project. And it shows that it's following the same emotional cycle as the years before. And so why wouldn't you risk a little bit of money? You have a very significant return on investment if proven right. And so with that being said, I made, let's see here, about a 15x return, close to that. I sold all the way up through this. So that was a really nice rally in between. But if you bought today and held it just to all-time highs, you're looking at about a 10x return. I'm sure this one's going to break all-time highs. Like I said, I'm not giving you guys targets for this video. I'm just showing you guys the setups that I'm trading. But same sort of thing. We're getting this nice little rounded bottom formation coming in here. It's not quite as round as the last cycle. It doesn't need to be either, because no two market cycles are ever going to be exactly the same. But same setup, same patterns. A lot of people are narking on this because it doesn't have any volume, but those are the same people that are going to get left behind in this upcoming cycle because they don't understand how these cycles work. You don't need mass capitulation volume coming in. You just need buyers to come and actually start entering this market. So this is one that I'm watching for. It looks like we're getting a little bit of a retrace in here. Drop it to a shorter time frame. Looks like we might sell for a lower low. Looks like we could also start going back up again, but we're retesting this supply zone that's rejected about 4 different times. So that's always a sign of weakness in that supply, and so I am expecting it to break up and out of that in due time. So for me personally, lower we go, the more I accumulate. The lower we go, the more I make on the way up. That's the way I'm looking at it. I could get wrecked here, but like I said, I'm willing to trust myself in these cycles. I've had the opportunity to trade them a few different times, and I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. So with that being said, Digibyte coming up at number 9 on the list. And that takes us to the final coin of our top 10 countdown. These are 10 coins that I'm super excited about, super passionate about making some money with. Wanted to share them with you guys because we're headed for some truly amazing times with crypto. And so if you can set yourself up for some of these longer term holds, you're going to do yourself a very significant return on investment in the time. This is one coin that I'm expecting to perform very well. Number 10 on the list comes to Cardano. Now, these are all coins that I expect to be valued significantly higher than what we're seeing right now. With Cardano, it reminds me a lot about early Ripple back in the day. And so I'm going to kind of be watching this to see what happens with this next cycle. I think that we're going to have some very parabolic runs with crypto, and I think that this one's going to be a real driver of value in that time. Now, we had a 1, we had the 3, and then we had an overextended 5. A, B, C, retrace back down. I made a video right here talking about how it's a good buy for Cardano, and then we started impulsing up and out of that. I made a signal inside of my Discord and nailed the bottom of this and then targeted 111 for my exit. So we're almost at that target. Gonna watch and see if we can hit it. But that was about an 85% swing trade that I had in there, so we're gonna look to be filling that in the short term. But this is one that I'm expecting long term to be a solid hold. It looks like we're getting something about like this, 1, and then we're working on the 3 wave. We still have some more momentum in this 3. I think it can take us higher than our target that I have drawn here before coming up, and maybe even retesting some of these highs up here. Lower highs that we saw up here, some of the first lower highs, which could take us to about 37 cents. The reason why I really liked this coin was for the simple comparison of early day XRP. It reminded me of this that we saw where we had a nice impulse up, prices retraced, and then we came up to tag some of these first lower highs before we had a long consolidation before, what happened to XRP. And so I was watching for the similar thing to play out. My targets would have taken us up to about right here, and it's looking very likely like this could happen. And so based off the Elliott wave perspective, we're still finishing out this 3 wave. We haven't even finished the 3. I might change some of my targets with my signals in here just because of the simple fact I do believe we're going to go much higher. But with that being said, this is still a very significant setup. This is a setup that I expect to perform very well in the long term. And not only that, but you have some nice profit potential in the shorter term as well. But this is one that I'm going to be actively accumulating. I have been actively accumulating since these lower values down in here. And so this is what I wanted to share with you guys. This is the last one on the list today. These were my 10 altcoins heading into this next alt season. These are 10 coins that I know are going to perform very well, and if they don't, then I'm just going to look like a real idiot making this video. But I have really high confidence in these, and I'm expecting them to perform very well for you guys. So if you invest in any of these, keep in mind, this is not financial advice. All of this is for your own risk. I cannot be held responsible for any of these mistakes that you made. I'm just showing you guys kind of what I'm going to be doing in the short term to long-term future as far as my portfolio goes. These are 10 coins that I like for short-term analysis. These are coins I like for mid-term analysis, and these are coins that I like for the long term. So it's really just the best of both worlds in my opinion. I don't know what's going to happen with these. We might not see any new money coming into these new altcoins. We might see it only go into Bitcoin and really just cause a lot of mayhem with these altcoin holders. And that's a risk you have to be willing to take. It's a risk that I'm willing to take. But for the most part, I find that less likely. I think that we will have a very profitable cycle in these altcoins. And so I'm going to be looking to do my part by accumulating these lows, not listening to the fear of the market, and just looking to maximize my own profit potential for the next couple, maybe 2 to 3 years to come. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.